Hip-hop's always been about speaking your truth. Sometimes that means rapping about the darkest moments of life. The stuff most people don't even want to talk about. But some songs were made just to mess with your head. Like Immortal Technique's Dance with the Devil, one of the most brutal stories ever put on a beat. Or Return of the Baby Killer, where the whole point was shock value, just trying to push things as far as possible. But then you got another category of songs, the ones that sound dark on the surface, but when you dig in, you realize it's not fiction, it's real life tragedy, violence, trauma, stories pulled straight from reality. And once you learn the backstory, the lyrics hit way harder. Viewer discretion is advised. If we're talking about songs that really hit different once you know the backstory, we gotta talk about Backdoor by Lil Durk. On the surface, it's just Durk doing what he does, talking about keeping a gun close, watching your circle, staying alert. But this one is not typical. This was basically his goodbye letter to King Von. See, Von wasn't just some rapper Durk knew, that was his best friend. Durk signed him, put him on, and they moved like family. 2020 should have been their year. Von just dropped Welcome to O Block, finally getting his shine, and Durk was blowing up off that Drake feature. Both of them were on the come up heavy. Then on November 6, 2020, everything flipped. Von gets into it outside a hookah lounge in Atlanta. A fight breaks out, shots go off, and he gets hit. 26 years old, gone right there in the middle of his prime.
Where were you when you got the call?
We was in Houston. We was shooting a video, I think. Somebody told me if you can copy an artist to be somebody for Halloween, you made it. He had a whole image. You know what I'm saying? And he lived what he lives. What he rapped about, he lived, but he was good-hearted at the same time. So it's like authentic, genuine. You don't really get that.
How many songs did you guys do together? You did a bunch, right?
Yeah, we did a lot of songs. Like if I sit up and say a number, I'll be lying.
Right.
Cause you gotta think about it.
He was your guy, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's one way every day. So
Durk heard the news later that day and posted on IG, "My twin gone, I love you baby bro." Then he just disappeared. Deleted Instagram, went quiet for weeks. So when he popped back out with Backdoor in December, you could feel it wasn't about no charts or streams. He was hurt, paranoid, and he was making sure nobody else could snake him the way they just did Von. That hook says it all. Close that back door, can't get snaked by my homie. That's Chicago talk for betrayal, getting set up by somebody close to you. And you could tell Durk was feeling that heavy. He raps lines like, "Before you leave that door, gotta pick your Glock up, and I'm riding around with choppers." That's not flexing, that's trauma talking. That's a man who just lost his brother and doesn't want to end up the same way. And the video made it hit even harder. Durk wore Von's O Block chain the whole time. That chain wasn't just jewelry, it was Von's pride, his piece of home. And Durk even showed the text where he told Von he was gonna wear it, and Von said he'd get it cleaned for him. Crazy part is, Von never even lived to see that video drop. The vibe in the video is different too. Yeah, you see the cars, the money, the crew, but Durk doesn't look happy, he looks heavy. Like success doesn't even matter when your brother ain't there to see it. Fans felt that too. The video shot up to #1 on YouTube the same day it dropped. Not cause it was some big label rollout, but cause people could feel Durk's pain through the screen. So yeah, Backdoor, it's not just another rap track, it's Durk turning grief into music. It's a warning, a tribute, and a survival tactic all in one. And when you know the story behind it, those bars hit way different. And if we're talking about being open about paranoia, trauma, and just heavy thoughts, you gotta bring up Tupac. One of the realest examples of that is So Many Tears. When Pac dropped Me Against the World in '95, he was only 24, but he was already carrying way more weight than most people see in a lifetime. Cases in court, getting shot, label drama, feeling like death was right around the corner, all of that was on his shoulders. And out of that came So Many Tears. The beat's dark, almost haunting, with that Stevie Wonder harmonica sample, and Pac just spills everything. His paranoia, his regrets, even the little bit of hope he still had left. It's one of those songs where you feel like you're in his head, like he just opened the diary and hit record. He raps lines like, "I'm hearing noises, think she's fucking all my boys, can't take no more." That's young Tupac admitting trust issues, admitting he's breaking down, admitting he don't even know who's really with him. Then he says, "See this Tanqueray influence me to getting crazy, disillusioned lately. I've been really wanting babies." That's him showing that softer side. Even in the middle of chaos, he's thinking about family, wanting kids, but doubting if he's even capable of being a good father. What makes it hit even harder is knowing what came after. Pac always felt like Dub was close, and in this song, you hear that paranoia loud and clear. Just a year later, he was in Vegas, gunned down at 25. So when you listen back to So Many Tears, it almost feels like he was predicting it. And that's the thing. Even when Pac had money, the fame, the status, it never erased that feeling of being out of place. He said it himself in an interview when somebody asked why he was complaining if he was rich and famous.
Well, what does Tupac have? He's a movie star. He's got, hit records. What does he have to complain about?
And I'm going to tell you, it's like being the last person alive. You know what I'm saying? After 3 days, you can't do anything. What can I do? Where can I go? There's no black neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, with black people who have the same amount of money as me. You know what I'm saying? There's richer and there's poorer. There's no just, did a movie, got a little bit of money, living okay, black neighborhood. I have to be in a white neighborhood, so I don't fit in. That's hell. It's hell when you can't be around your peers. All my life I grew up around black people, poor people, but I can't live around poor people now because they'll rob me. And why would they rob me? Because they're starving, because there's no money here. But they're telling me, now that I made a little money, I have to move here. So it's not like no one's ever trying to deal with this section. They're just moving away from it.
But that's why this record stands out. Tupac wasn't rapping to sound tough or just to brag. He was putting his fears and insecurities out there in a way most rappers never would. And that's why almost 3 decades later, it still cuts deep. Fast forward years later and you can still hear that same kind of pain in newer artists like Meek Mill. When he dropped Trauma on Championships, he wasn't just talking street life. He was laying out what it's like growing up in a system that's designed to break you before you even get started. The beat flips Mobb Deep's Getaway sample, so it already feels heavy and reflective. And right away, Meek dives straight into the pain. He raps about getting searched, locked up, and thrown in the system at a young age. He talks about being judged before he even had a chance. That's why the song's called Trauma, cause he's saying it ain't just the violence in the streets, it's the way poverty, prison, and racism all pile on you from day one. But what really makes it hit harder is knowing where Meek comes from. When he was just 5 years old, his father was shot and killed during a robbery in Philly. That left his mom raising him and his sister on her own, struggling to keep food on the table. And Meek has said in interviews that losing his dad at that age left a scar that never really healed. That's part of why Trauma feels so personal, that he's not just rapping theory, he's rapping lived experience. And throughout the track, he points out how the cycle just keeps going. Like how young kids end up watching their friends get locked up or killed, and then they fall into the same path because they don't see another way out. He even raps, "See my brother blood on the pavement, how you wake up in the morning feeling evil. That's not to entertainment, that's survivor's guilt." When Trauma dropped, it connected with people way outside of just Meek's fan base, because he wasn't just telling his story, he was speaking for a whole community. Kids from broken homes, people dealing with violence, families torn apart by the justice system.
You think you've done anything to try to deal with that trauma?
Yeah, hell yeah, I've been smoking weed all week. I'm smoking all day. I got 100 friends that been murdered and shit. When we lay down in the bed, we gotta smoke something, take a Benadryl, something. You start thinking about 10 of your homies that got killed last year. So it'd be like a little, I smoke. I used to take perks. Remember I was talking about on your show?
Yeah.
I used to take perks and shit like that, but all that came from a balance of dealing with shit like that. I know these young kids that's coming in these courtrooms, they've been shot at by police, their brothers got murdered in front of their moms, in front of their face, all types of raw shit they've been through. Friday the 13th every day. You gonna lock them up for smoking weed at night? Cause they going, but y'all prescribing this shit to soldiers and saying it's medicine, you know what I'm saying?
And what's wild is by the time Meek put this song out, he was already famous, already a millionaire. But he was still carrying all that weight, still showing how those scars from losing his dad and growing up in poverty never really go away. Even when you survive, even when you make it out, you're still carrying everything you went through. And that same feeling is all over Young and Ace's music. When he dropped Pain, it wasn't about blowing up or making a hit. It was him letting the world hear the weight he was carrying after tragedy. He and his crew were out celebrating his best friend's 18th birthday at a steakhouse in Jacksonville, just trying to chill, eat, and vibe. Next thing they know, it got ugly fast. They got ambushed and bullets came flying. Ace got shot 8 times and ended up in the hospital fighting for his life. His brother and 2 of his closest friends didn't make it.
I got shot 8 times. And I watched like I said, mom got 8 boys. So everybody got their 1 and their 2. This is my 2, the one I be with every day, the one I shared everything with. I shared everything with all my brothers, but the one I'm sharing everything with, we consistently wearing the same clothes.
When he says, it was my idea to go out, you can hear the regret, the tone in his voice. You can tell he's still carrying that pain, still wrestling with it.
We don't even go out to eat. On my little brother's birthday, which is my best friend, his name 23. On his birthday, I'm like, shit, little bro, let's go do some shit. Cause our life's so fucked up, it's like, you live or you die. You know what I'm saying? He ain't really want to go cause we don't do this type of stuff. Like going out to eat, cause bro, we in the streets. Anything can happen, feel me?
That's why Pain hit people the way it did. It felt less like a song and more like him working through his own demons in real time. Wild part is, Pain was the song that ended up making him blow up. Millions of views, the streets were rocking with it, his name was everywhere. But the success came out of one of the darkest moments of his life. It was a young artist taking a near-death tragedy and turning it into the only way he knew how to survive, music.
Getting the car shit, I feel like probably like 25 seconds, 30 seconds, pull up to a light. Nigga, I'm finna call my girlfriend cause we arguing about the car cause we in my big brother car. So I'm calling him, I'm about to call her. Soon as I pull my phone out, I get shot in my hand. See my whole hand, see all this is off, but it grew back, you know what I'm saying? See my whole hand, so when they start shooting, I seen it. They just got the blowing and like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but my mind's so fast, bro, it's quick. So I get shit with my little brother 23. See, this is his birthday, so I'm shitting him, trying to get him out the car though. I'm pressing like the door, cause the door's locked. So I'm trying to press the unlock button, but they still shooting. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still getting hit and everything. So I end up like pulling out the car. He pushing me. I'm pushing him. He pulling me. Same thing. We going out the car, but he can't really move for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? His body's so locked. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I get like crawling a little piece, and I turn back around. I just see the whole car just like fucked up. This was just quick, like quicker than I'm saying. It was real quick. I end up calling my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, yo, tell her what happened. She pull up. See, you gotta think about it, my girlfriend, she watching all this shit. She beat the ambulance. And it's people who here. It's people, there's other cars here. Nobody really called the ambulance till my girlfriend got there. They just taking pictures.
How many people were in the car?
It was just us four.
What happened to the other 3?
They died.
What point did you realize that they might not be alive?
When I got the ambulance, I ain't even hit nothing, right? But soon I got the ambulance, I just seen my mama right there crying. So I ain't even know my brother was there. I just told my mama straight up, like, man, they killed my brother.